Ladies and gentlemen, please silence all cell phones and other electronic devices for the duration of the ceremony. In consideration of those around you, we ask that you please remain seated and in the bleachers during the ceremony until all soldiers have passed the reviewing stand and the conclusion of the ceremony is announced. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Commanding General, Major General Darrell Hood, and the Post Command Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major William Schoaf, welcome to the United States Army Training Center in Fort Jackson for the graduation of Companies Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Echo from the 3rd Battalion, 13th Infantry Regiment, 193rd Infantry Brigade. Please stand for the invocation given by Chaplain Ronaldo Monongo.
Please join me in prayer according to your faith tradition. Let us pray. Almighty God, we come before you with grateful hearts on this graduation day. Thank you for guiding and strengthening these soldiers through every challenge of their training. As they stand ready for what lies ahead, bless them with courage, wisdom, and steadfast grace in every trial they may face. We thank you as well for our retirees, their service, their sacrifice, and the families who supported them. May your blessings rest upon them in this new chapter of life. Lord, watch over these newest American soldiers and the families who stand behind them. Bless Team Commando, Team Bayonet, and Team Jackson and our great nation. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Please be seated. The purpose of today's ceremony is to recognize the commitment of the men and women you see standing in formation before you today, who have chosen to serve their country as soldiers. This review is the last official formation of the training cycle. Not everyone successfully completes this difficult period of training, but those in formation today represent disciplined, motivated, physically fit soldiers who exemplify the Army's 7 core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. They are imbued with the warrior ethos and display the tenets of putting the mission first, never accepting defeat, never quitting, and never leaving behind a fallen comrade. This is an important day, and these soldiers can take great pride in their accomplishments. To the parents, families, and friends of these soldiers, Fort Jackson extends a very warm and sincere welcome. We are justifiably proud of them and are truly honored that they have chosen to join our ranks. Please direct your attention to the left of formation. The units marching today from your left to right are the 282nd Army Band under the command of Chief Warrant Officer Jared J. Delaney, graduating soldiers from Companies Alpha and Bravo, the Battalion Color Guard, and graduating soldiers from Companies Charlie, Delta, and Echo. Identified by their distinctive headgear are the drill sergeants. These dedicated non-commissioned officers form the backbone of the Army's training center system, selected based on professional competence, leadership ability, and years of service. These men and women undergo intensive training to earn the right to wear their distinctive hat and insignia. With the drill sergeant hat goes the important responsibility of molding civilian men and women into soldiers. The commander of troops for today's ceremony is Major Marquise D. Oliver, who serves as the battalion executive officer for the 3rd Battalion, 13th Infantry Regiment. He and the battalion staff are positioned on the field. The reviewing officer for today's graduation is the commander of the 3rd Battalion, 13th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Ronald R. Renaud, Jr. On his left is Command Sergeant Major William L. Smith, the battalion's senior non-commissioned officer, master trainer, and principal advisor to the commander. The commander of troops will now bring forward the colors and persons to be honored. Competence and commitment are the hallmarks of professionalism. The soldiers and drill sergeant coming forward will be recognized for their excellence in training and duty performance and serve as examples to all.
Sir, the colors and honorees are present. Present the command. 40 rounds. 40 rounds, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the national anthem. It is appropriate for soldiers in uniform and all armed forces veterans to salute the American flag. We ask our civilian guests to please remove your headgear and place your right hand over your heart as our national anthem is played.
Detachment, reset, arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Order, arms. Down, order, arms, and play, red.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to witness the retirement of lifelong soldiers. All soldiers begin their journey by graduating from basic combat training. Over the years, there have been changes to how the Army conducts basic training. However, many things remain the same. It was during basic training that these soldiers were first introduced to the Army values. It is where they learn the importance of teamwork and that the Army is truly a family. That sense of team and Army family is still embedded in what is done here today. Over 42 years ago, these soldiers took the same oath to defend this nation that your loved ones on the field have taken. We salute these great soldiers as they pass the torch of freedom along to the newest generation of soldiers, your loved ones standing on the field today. A certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States will be presented to those retiring today. It reads, I extend to you my personal thanks and the sincere appreciation of our grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during critical times in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of the military service. I trust that in the coming years, you'll maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you serve. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. A certificate of retirement from the Chief of Staff, United States Army, is also presented to those retiring today. And to the spouses of today's retirees for their dedicated service to our nation. At this time, we'll recognize our retirees for their service to the United States Army. Lieutenant Colonel Gregory S. Jackson, having served honorably for 31 years of service, is placed on the retirement list 1st of October, 2026. Lieutenant Colonel Gregory Jackson entered active duty in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and will reside in Elgin, South Carolina upon retirement. His fondest professional achievement is making it to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel and having the opportunity to graduate from CGSC in residence. Now that he's retired, he will take the time off to travel but remain active in civilian ministry. The nation salutes Gregory Jackson, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army, retired. First Sergeant Adrian T. Hellbronner, having served honorably for 22 years of service, is placed on the retirement list effective 1st October 2026. First Sergeant Adrian Hellbronner entered active duty in Wichita, Kansas, and will reside in Elgin, South Carolina upon retirement. His fondest professional achievement is living through 3 back-to-back deployments during the global war on terrorism. Now that he is retired, he plans on taking naps anytime he wants. The nation salutes Adrian T. Hillbronner, First Sergeant, the United States Army, retired. Chief of Police Rostin M. Allen, having served honorably for 42 years of service, is placed on the retirement list effective 1st June 2026. Chief of Police Rostin M. Allen will reside in Columbia, South Carolina upon retirement. His fondest professional achievement is retiring from active duty after 20 and a half years of honorable military service and continuing his commitment to public service by returning in a civilian capacity. For the past 21 and a half years, he has served with distinction in law enforcement, dedicating himself to the safety, security, and well-being of the Fort Jackson community. Now that he is retired, he will volunteer his time at the local sheriff's department, applying more than 42 years of life experience to support and strengthen the community. Through dedicated service, he will continue to contribute his skills, knowledge, and commitment to public safety in a meaningful and impactful way. The nation salutes Rostin M. Allen, Chief of Police, United States Army, retired. Please join me in a round of applause for our retiree and their families. Although newly retired, they will always be part of our Army family.
Awardees, vote. Right flank, march. Left, left, left. March time, march. Left, detail, halt. Left, straight.
The soldiers most responsible for the training of these soldiers are the drill sergeants, who are carefully selected by the Department of the Army. The drill sergeant campaign hat and badge have been a stoic symbol of professionalism and pride since 1962. At this time, the drill sergeant of the cycle for the 3rd Battalion, 13th Infantry Regiment will recite the drill sergeant creed. We ask that all drill sergeants, past and present, please stand for the reciting of the drill sergeant creed.
I am a drill sergeant. I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier, capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride in self, in the Army, and in country. I will insist that each soldier meets and maintains the Army standards of military bearing and courtesy, consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never requiring a soldier to attempt any task I would not do myself. But first, last, and always, I am an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a drill sergeant. This will defend.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Renaud and Command Sergeant Major Smith will now present the awards. The outstanding drill sergeant of the cycle for the 3rd Battalion, 13th Infantry Regiment is Drill Sergeant Trace Carter from Pampa, Texas. The soldier leader of the cycle for Alpha Company is Private Second Class Cameron Myers from Tucson, Arizona. The soldier of the cycle for Alpha Company is Specialist Terrell Mitchum from Macon, Georgia. The soldier leader of the cycle for Bravo Company is Private First Class Addison Hayes from Lexington, Kentucky. The soldier of the cycle for Bravo Company is Private Orlando Rodriguez from Metairie, Louisiana. The soldier leader of the cycle for Charlie Company is Private Neve Castro from Belton, Texas. The soldier of the cycle for Charlie Company is Private Second Class Jeffrey Van Hoores from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. The soldier leader of the cycle for Delta Company is Private First Class Harrelson Keel from Moses Lake, Washington. The soldier of the cycle for Delta Company is Private First Class Isaiah Stokes from Wanawak, Wisconsin. The soldier leader of the cycle for Echo Company is Private Alan Brian Keith from Herkimer, New York. The soldier of the cycle for Echo Company is Private Troy Williams from Chicago, Illinois. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the 3rd Battalion, 13th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Ronald R. Renaud, Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'd like to start today by thanking our senior leaders for attending today's ceremony. Major General Hood, Colonel Hensel, Command Sergeant Major Clancy, and some of our guests here, Brigadier General White, Sergeant Major Harris. Thank you so much for coming here and being here with us today. Commanders and Command Sergeants Major, distinguished guests, families, and friends of the 3rd Battalion, 13th Infantry Regiment, welcome, and thank you for joining us in honoring the accomplishments of Basic Combat Training Class 26-03. On behalf of the U.S. Army Training Center and Fort Jackson Commanding General, Major General Hood, and the U.S. Army Training Center and Fort Jackson Command Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major Schoaf, welcome to Fort Jackson, where we make American soldiers. As you may have noticed when you arrived at Fort Jackson, signs along the way state, "We make American soldiers." And here at Fort Jackson, we graduate over 50% of the Army's throughput of basic combat trainees annually. Last year alone, Fort Jackson processed and trained over 40,000 civilians who successfully transitioned into U.S. soldiers. I'd like to take a few moments to recognize some of the people that are involved in that process. I'd like to start by thanking the 282nd Army Band. As always, y'all look great and you sound great. Y'all consistently provide a touch of class and distinction to all of these important ceremonies. So families, I ask that y'all please join me in a round of applause for these distinguished soldiers and musicians. Since 1917, Fort Jackson has helped forge America's warrior class as it transforms civilians into disciplined, physically fit, proficient, and gritty warfighters. Today, it serves as the Army's premier training center and the largest training station of American soldiers. As such, we pride ourselves on being in the people business, and the commandos, as well as the rest of Team Jackson, are in the business of producing and developing the best people to serve as our soldiers, our non-commissioned officers, and commissioned officers. And I am extremely proud to be a part of that mission. And I promise each and every one of you that our future is in very capable hands with the soldiers standing before you on this field today. When the soldiers assembled on the field arrived here in February, many of them quickly realized that this might be the greatest challenge of their lives. Out of the 1,149 civilians that started, only 1,050 soldiers met the challenge and stand before you today. And here are some interesting facts about this class. They are quite a diverse group. They come from 27 different countries. The youngest soldier is 17 years old, and the oldest is 45 years old. Exactly. Many soldiers in this formation have college degrees. 90 have their associate's degree, 88 have their bachelor's degrees, and 22 have a master's degree. 4 of these soldiers previously served in the U.S. Navy, 1 served in the U.S. Air Force, and another 3 of these soldiers previously served in our Army. To those 8 soldiers, I say, welcome home to the best branch of the U.S. military. I'm a little bit biased, I admit. Additionally, later today, we will welcome 63 newly naturalized United States citizens. So thank you for your commitment to our great nation. Now, despite their unique and diverse backgrounds, what unites all of these new soldiers is that each one of them has raised his or her right hand and swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. So please help me in recognizing our newest citizens and soldiers. That said, we must also recognize that our present is very much shaped by our past. So I'd like to recognize our veterans and retirees. We are a free nation because of the sacrifices of American service members who have fought for, and in many cases continue to fight for, our freedoms. If able, will all veterans and retirees stand and be recognized? Thank you all for your service. The personal history of the soldiers standing before you began when they arrived here 10 weeks ago. The beginning of their training was about discipline, fitness, and confidence. Becoming a soldier, they conducted inspections, they learned how to march, and they challenged themselves to improve their physical and their mental fitness. Shortly thereafter, they gained trust in their military equipment. And as they gained trust in their equipment, they also gained confidence in their leaders and in themselves. They overcame many tests of grit and discipline that showed them the importance of recognizing their role as a member of a team and the importance of taking care of each other. While they leaned on each other, they were led by their amazing drill sergeants. This group of experts represents the best this Army has to offer to train our soldiers. And they serve many long days and many long nights, sacrificing much, but doing so with a sense of pride and purpose. Not one soldier on this field will forget the name of the drill sergeants who remained with him throughout their journey here. They and the rest of Team Commando know that these soldiers are our legacy, and they must be ready to continue the mission long after we are gone. Lastly, soldiers, less than 1% of Americans are willing and able to serve in the United States military, making you a part of an elite few who are willing to commit to serve our great nation. Take pride in what we do, and always remember that you are part of a great team of fellow soldiers serving in defense of freedom around the world. And while your victories may have started here, do not let them end here. Your family, the Army, and your country needs you trained and ready for any situation. And to our extended Army families, everyone here in the stands, thank you again for your attendance and for your tremendous support to our soldiers and our nation. Please continue to help support your new soldiers. They have become something different, something better than they once were. They are now part of the greatest army that the world has ever seen, and they will forever be a part of its legacy. 40 rounds, no ground to give, and remember our Fort Jackson motto, victory. Thank you.
Today's soldier is above all a warrior, adaptive, confident, and competent. As a soldier, you're totally committed to the warrior ethos, grounded in Army values, and determined to destroy enemies of the United States of America and her allies. The United States Army Soldier's Creed embodies this commitment. To the soldiers on the field, the uniform you wear at the moment is more than an outward display of your vocational choice. Your uniform is a symbol of a nation and an unspoken assurance to all who see you that you are a willing and able protector of the freedoms fought so arduously for. By all who have gone before and those who will bravely come after, you have become what you set out to be, a soldier in the United States Army. The Soldier's Creed is your declaration of your unshakable commitment to the ideals this nation was founded upon and will continue to guarantee. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Private Second Class Myers presents a certificate of appreciation to the retirees and leads the soldiers standing before you through the reciting of the Soldier's Creed.
Soldier's Creed!
Please be seated. In consideration of those around you, we ask that you please remain seated and in the bleachers until all soldiers have passed the reviewing stand and the conclusion of the ceremony is announced. As you are approached by the American flag, it is appropriate to rise and remain standing until it has passed to your right. Once the ceremony has concluded, family members of awardees may meet their soldier under the canopy located to the left of the bleachers. All other family members and friends, please meet your soldier in the parking lot for POV pickup once instructed by the narrator by respective companies. The 13th Infantry Regiment was constituted in May 1861 when the Army expanded the regular Army during the American Civil War. During the Civil War, the regiment fought its way to Vicksburg by participating in the battles of Hayes Bluffs, Champion Hill, and Black River, taking the fight out of Confederate forces upon reaching Vicksburg. On 19 May 1863, the 13th Infantry Regiment participated in the assault on Vicksburg, thus earning its official motto of Vicksburg at Vicksburg. The regiment was the only Union regiment to plant its colors on the Confederate position. The 13th Infantry Regiment is the only unit to be led by both General William Sherman, known as America's most aggressive maneuver commander, and General Philip Sheridan, the greatest Union cavalry officer. From 1867 to 1871, the regiment fought in the Indian Wars in Montana and North Dakota. In June of 1889, the regiment was sent to Cuba and led the 1st Infantry's attack on San Juan Hill, capturing the Spanish flag. The regiment saw action in the Philippines during the Philippines insurrection and was assigned to the 8th Infantry Division in June 1918. The regiment found itself fighting through the hedgerows of France in July of 1944 as a member of the 8th Infantry Division and led the drive to the A River. The regiment spent 10 months in combat in northern France, the Rhineland, and Central Europe. It occupied a position on Siegfried Line and was involved in the bloody Battle of Hürtgen Forest. After multiple activations and inactivations, on 27 February 1987, the 13th Infantry Regiment was transferred to the United States Army Training Center and Doctrine Command and reorganized at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Currently, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Battalion of the 13th Infantry Regiment conduct basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Passing the reviewing stand is the Commander of Troops, Major Marquise Oliver, and the battalion staff. The 282nd Army Band is commanded by Chief Warrant Officer 4, Jared J. Delaney. The drum major is Staff Sergeant Brooke Hendricks. Alpha Company is commanded by Captain Darcy Williams. 1st Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Eric Yogers and trained by Drill Sergeant Patrick Mulgrew. 2nd Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Chase Cook and trained by Drill Sergeant Clay Hobbs. 3rd Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Sharon Briseno and trained by Drill Sergeant Justin Fuller. Fourth Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Anthony Cardelli and trained by Drill Sergeant Relinda Henry. In the rare formation is First Sergeant Joshua Kruger. Bravo Company is commanded by Captain Annalisa Campos. First Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Rajan Miller and trained by Drill Sergeant John Kohut. Second Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Jacavian Mann and trained by Drill Sergeant Taylor Clemens. Third Platoon is led by Drill Sergeant Donald Tension and trained by Drill Sergeant Terencia Fisher. Fourth Platoon is led by Drill Sergeant Mason Johnson and trained by Drill Sergeant Monica Hollister. In the rare formation is First Sergeant Stephen Coombs. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are approached by the American flag, it is appropriate to rise and remain standing until it has passed to your right. Charlie Company is commanded by Captain Ajay Joshi. First Platoon is led by Drill Sergeant Nicholas Williams and trained by Drill Sergeant Curtis Litcher. Second Platoon is led by Drill Sergeant Daryl Bettis and trained by Drill Sergeant Charlene Aviles. Third Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Alex Head and trained by Drill Sergeant Ali Vang. Fourth Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Claudia Seal and trained by Drill Sergeant Joshua Quisenberry. In the rare formation is First Sergeant Ismail Navarro III. Delta Company is commanded by Captain Marius Moldovan. First Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Nathaniel Norris and trained by Drill Sergeant DeMarcus Gully. Second Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Ryan Christie and trained by Drill Sergeant Michaela Hull. Third Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Juanita Hughes and trained by Drill Sergeant Sylvester Harris. Fourth Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Caleb Brown and trained by Drill Sergeant Jesus Pajaras. In the rare formation is First Sergeant Dylan Schallenberger. Echo Company is commanded by Captain Brandon McCall. 1st Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Alexander Wilkinson and trained by Drill Sergeant Danny Lopez. Second Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Tavian Dixon and trained by Drill Sergeant Joshua Witter. Third Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Blake Brunet and trained by Drill Sergeant Adam Kegel. Fourth Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Brandon Harrison. In the rear of formation is 1st Sergeant Christopher Castro. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the retirement medley and Army song. Please remain in the bleachers until the conclusion of the ceremony is announced.
Take charge of formation! Order rounds!
Before we conclude today's ceremony, we have an important announcement for our future citizens. At 11:30 a.m., the naturalization ceremony for the soldiers becoming U.S. citizens will take place in the 3rd Battalion, 13th Infantry Regiment classroom. For step-by-step directions to the battalion classroom, please use Google Maps. We ask that all participants please arrive early, as the ceremony will begin on time. Additionally, for everyone's safety, as you exit the seating area, please use the designated walkways and do not jump the railings as you walk down the steps. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Thank you for attending and have a wonderful day.